Hello and welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shibani Gharat. In today's special exclusive conversation, we are catching up with TM Narasimhan, the Managing Director of Motorola's mobile business group in India. Under his leadership, Motorola is making waves in the Indian smartphone market, and today we are diving into the company's strategies and vision for the future. They want to be seen as a lifestyle tech brand. We'll discuss Motorola's ambitious plans to achieve this and also achieve a target of 10% market share by 2026. The company's growth in the premium segment and how it plans to tap into the mid-range market. We'll also explore Motorola's AI strategy with Moto AI 2.0, its participation in the production-linked incentive scheme, and plans to double production capacity. Listen in. The overall idea is to move towards becoming a lifestyle tech brand. So how are you pivoting in that direction?
One of the realizations the company had was the mobile devices today are personal in nature. And it's become part of our lifestyle. You know, what we carry is something which is a reflection of a personality. So when you start talking from that, so the idea came in saying that why can't we become a lifestyle tech brand? So that's where the vision started. So towards that journey, first and foremost, we started with saying, okay, what is it that's personal to the consumers? Obviously, the design obviously has to look good. It's not just the tech hardware specs, RAM, ROM, chipset. So somewhere the design of the phone had to start working on towards the lifestyle space. Design is something which is personal to people. The second thing was colors. Obviously, the front of the phone is all screen. The latest phone that we have launched, it's a 96.5% screen to body ratio. We had 60 Fusion, which we just launched 2 weeks back. Now, with that kind of a space in the front, so it's only the back which was left for saying to how do I, make it a lifestyle space for somebody. So which is where the partnership with Pantone came in. We collaborate with Pantone to identify the trends, the colors, the materials, what is the trend that's going to come up. And we work with them to make our devices have Pantone curated colors. The materials that we use, ecologically viable. How do we go towards that? Because that's something which is important for people's lifestyle today. Everybody is talking go green. You can take electric vehicles, you can talk of greener technologies.
So that's why vegan leather.
That's why the vegan leather came into place for the first.
Your devices. Yeah.
So across devices, it became a vegan leather. So the preferences were from colors, the trends, the design. Starting from Pantone, the colors became personal. It was a lifestyle, this thing. Being ecologically sustainable, so vegan leather came into place. So the design elements, what we start using. So all those things, the pivot started saying, how do we pivot ourselves towards a lifestyle tech brand? And that's the journey which we are evolving, and we're continuing to work on it. So all our devices, you would see the colors, the materials that we use. Now, post vegan leather, how do you make it even more personal for somebody? So some of the devices that you see, you would see it's not just a leather finish. Some people don't like a leather finish. Now, can I give them a nylon fabric finish? Or last year when we launched the H50 Ultra, some people said, I don't absolutely want anything in leather. The H50 Ultra came with a wood finish, right? So it's all materials which are recyclable, environmentally conscious. But how do we play not just with colors, but take it to the material and finishes? So last year it was the finish of wood. This year you would see a nylon or a fabric finish coming in within the same partnership with Pantone.
How is this financial year panning out, TM? And last one was really good for you guys at Motorola. How is this one panning out with so much of volatility and, trade tensions and, inflation that is concerning and geopolitics that is bothering everyone across the globe? All the markets are affected. So how is this one panning out, considering also you have set out an ambitious target of, acquiring 10% market share, being one of the top 3 players in the India market. So what are some of your strategies in place to, reach this target?
See, from an India perspective, the market is there. The market is not degrowing. That's a healthy sign. Let me put it that way. The market is not degrowing. And the outlook, whatever I read about from various research agencies, the outlook continues to be a growth. The growth is happening in 2 fronts. So one, from a volume front, it's in a single digit. But everybody is predicting a value at about a double-digit growth. So that means there is a premiumization happening within whatever sale is happening. So that is where, if you had, to refer to the earlier discussion that we had or the presentation that I had, the premium mix becomes important. So which is why the devices that we are launching have to have the premium devices. But for us to answer your specific question to how do we address the challenge of being the number 3 player, we need to bring in differentiation. So reverting back to the previous question, lifestyle tech is one differentiation.
Yeah, that's one differentiation.
2, UI UX, AI. AI is the new thing which has come up, and we don't know what is the limit of AI going to be. With Moto AI 2.0, we are trying to make your device that much more personal to you.
Yeah.
Right? So the personalization of AI, rather than being a reactive AI agent, it's going to be a proactive AI agent. So today, all AI agents, pretty much you ask question, it answers. So Moto AI 2.0 is not going to be just reactive. Obviously, it will work on the reactive front, but it will also be proactive.
Yeah.
It will prompt you. So if you're chatting up with somebody, or if you're clicking some photographs, it is going to prompt you and ask you, do you want to edit this the way you want it to? It is going to prompt you, but rather than you thinking and asking it to edit it. So those are all the personalization which will create a differentiation and the ecosystem play. You would have just recently heard that we have launched our Moto Book and Moto Pad. The ecosystem makes it a seamless movement across usage for you. So those are all use cases that we are trying to build on to in our aim to reach the number 3 player in India.
There was one point in time when the sub 10,000 rupees bracket was doing really well for Motorola. But during your presentation, you mentioned how the premium is performing well for you guys. In fact, flip devices did exceedingly well for Motorola. So tell us more about, your play or your strategy in the premium segment and also in the mid-range and the mid-premium segment, and what is your strategy? What are some of your priorities over there?
Okay, so one, we want to be a full range player. So today, if you talk about it, our phone starts at a 6,999 and then goes up to all the way up to 79,999 or an 89,999. We are a full range player. 3 years back, it was pretty much a less than 10,000 smartphone play, which was for Motorola for us. 5 years back, 2-3 years back, we started establishing ourselves as a serious player in the 10 to 20K price segment. 2 years back, we started playing in the 20 to 30K segment, and that started doing well for us. And last year has been phenomenal for us in the greater than 20K segment for us, which is what I shared with you earlier as well. So now our objective is to have the same lifestyle tech across all devices. So if you see the 6,999 device would also be vegan leather, would also be Pantone curated colors, would also have a Corning Gorilla Glass, as it would be in our premium devices. So one, across the range, the lifestyle tech positioning would continue for us. However, as we keep growing up the price band, the needs of the consumers are different. The current users are having different needs. So we were trying to work towards what are the needs that we can address towards to. So AI today is at a premium range. Now, which is where a Moto AI 2.0 comes in. Because it's not just because it's premium devices, it is because the chipset requires a certain AI capability. So now those devices obviously end up costing more. But without understanding the need of the consumer, I cannot just launch a device. So if the need of the consumer there and the new technological shift that is happening is towards AI, work on Moto AI 2.0 came in. Along with premiumization, one more thing that you see is that everybody today uses a minimum of 3, goes up to 5 personal devices which they carry. When I say minimum of 2 or 3, phone is personal, laptop is personal. Then you've got a TWS, you've got a watch, you've got a tablet. So these are 5 devices which are extremely personal and all are connected towards a single ecosystem. So our strategy is, if we need to give the users a unified experience, how do we diversify and give them a unified experience with our ecosystem strategy as well? So that is one of our pillars for us, to start working towards giving that premium experience for the consumers. Not just that, when I say premium, it's an experience and I'm not talking about the price band. Right? How well we can make it reach the masses and go for it. So that's how we are trying to build our strategy.
Motorola was one of the first players to get involved in PLI, production linked incentive scheme. Going forward, how is it going to help Motorola?
The government has always been wanting to promote the manufacturing ecosystem, especially in the electronic sector, from 3-4 years, 5 years back itself. So Motorola as a brand, we wanted to be committed to that. So hence we were one of the first participants in PLI 1.0. And just now the government has just announced last month the component PLI on the mobile ecosystem as well. So our global strategy team is strongly evaluating as to how can we participate on the same and how do we go about building the same. Obviously, we have manufacturing in multiple locations, but then we are committed to making in India. So today, 100% of the phones which is sold in India is actually manufactured in India for us. And the entire growth that we have seen over the last 3 years of year-on-year 100% plus growth, we have been adding capacity in India to cater to that growth. So, and with the government's strong messaging for promoting the manufacturing in the electronic segment, Motorola would be 100% committed, in fact, more than 100% committed to continue participating in the same and work towards making in India for the Indian consumers and of course for the globe as well. So that is something which we'll continue to play on the way we started 5 years back. We'll continue with the PLI and we'll continue working on with the government's objectives and making it a big play actually for the Indian consumers.
We all know India is a very important market from a tech, a smartphone perspective. Tell us, how do you assess the current market dynamics in India and what are some of the things that will shape, this market going forward according to you?
You've got 19 brands in play. I'm not talking about group companies, I'm talking about 19 different brands. Now, it's one of the most competitive market. I mean, you take US, the top 3 brands have a share of about 97% of the market in US or Japan. Whereas if you talk of India, probably the top 10 brands put together end up making what, 70, 80%? It takes 10 brands to make a 70% market share or 80% market share. There is still others, right? So it's one of the most competitive markets. Now, if a product becomes successful here, it has every right to succeed everywhere. Let me put it that way. So that was the first part of the question. So the dynamics is extremely complex. You never know who's going to come up with what. With 19 brands, it's always going to be there. With the advent of AI starting with, say, ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, Perplexity Pro, everybody coming in, how does every manufacturer adapt and take the AI to the next level? Well, I forgot DeepSeek as well. So there are multiple AIs available today. Now, how does every brand would want to adopt and give a user experience for the consumers will also become important. Till about probably 8 years, 10 years ago, it was just the look of the device which was selling the device. But today with Motorola in the last 3-4 years, we have shown, no, it's not just the looks, it's the colors, it's the texture, it's the vegan leathers. Those differentiation lifestyle positioning is also helping sell. So that's one differentiation which Motorola brought into the industry in the last 3 years. And what we believe personally or collectively is that AI is going to be the next change agent. Now, which brand, how do you build in AI and make it user-friendly for the consumers, intuitive for the consumers, and make it, you can call it an assistant. How can I make AI my shadow? To put it in layman terms, I want the Moto AI to be my shadow. It goes with me always. It mimics what I do. Rather, it should actually preempt what should I do. So how do I take it that one step further? I would call it my twin. So Moto AI 2.0 is that twin that we want you to have with you. It's not a reactive agent. It's a proactive agent. Now, will this succeed? Consumers are going to tell.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today and sharing these insights with us.
Thank you, sir.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we have Flynn Maloy, Chief Marketing Officer of Lenovo ISG, who's speaking to us on his recent visit to India and telling us about how his organization is positioning itself in rapidly evolving digital world. Welcome back. As artificial intelligence takes center stage in reshaping industries and redefining customer expectations, the challenge for global technology leaders is clear. How do you cut through the noise and deliver real differentiated value? Flynn Maloy, Chief Marketing Officer of Lenovo ISG, is speaking to us on his recent visit to India and telling us about how his organization is positioning itself in a rapidly evolving digital world. I caught up with him on the sidelines of the latest edition of Lenovo's CIO Playbook. Now, according to the playbook, Indian organizations are expected to significantly increase their investment in artificial intelligence, with Gen AI projected to account for 43% of total AI spending in 2025. Now, while AI spending in India is forecast to grow by 2.7 times, adoption remains in its early stages. Maloy tells us more. With AI being such a big focus, how is Lenovo ISG, differentiating its offerings in such a crowded marketplace?
That's an awesome question. It is a very noisy marketplace. So I'll say, when we look at Lenovo's capabilities broadly, we are the #1 PC provider, the largest PC business, a huge devices business, cell phone business. We're also the #3 or #4 server vendor, storage vendor. So across the board, Lenovo brings technology to all parts of an environment. And in particular, we have like our corner of the room. It's a noisy marketplace. Our corner of the room is about bringing AI out to the edge. So think about, for example, I love to give this example to customers I speak to, like a hospital. So in that hospital, how many nurses with cell phones, or staff cell phones, or doctors with tablets, or a radiologist with a workstation, and in the basement there's private storage and servers. Imagine this whole environment delivering different kinds of AI to all of the different people in the hospital. Lenovo is one of the only companies that can do that. And so we often talk about, you don't have to take your data to the AI up in the clouds. Bring the AI out to your data, to that environment, that hospital environment, or schools, stores. Bring it out. And that's, we say, democratizing AI. And we think that's the next big phase. Lots of spend, lots of energy has happened in the public cloud. And that's great. We have some very amazing capabilities there. What we see as next is going to be bringing it out of the clouds all around the world.
Great. And Flynn, also give us an understanding. When you're speaking with, the decision makers on tech stacks for companies and organizations, when you're interacting with CIOs, how has your engagement and how has your strategy from a chief marketing officer lens or point of view changed or evolved in the past couple of years?
Another great question. I would say it's kind of like in the early days of cloud, where the whole industry is still trying to figure out what we're doing. You saw that in the tech day and some of the conversations we had on some of the data that we brought forward. Everybody is still trying to find out what we should do. So in my opinion, how the chief marketing officer role has evolved is, we're not just telling you our corner of the room and here's what we're doing. We're also educating, because we're all learning about this together. So uncovering what is the next set of data, what are some of the best practices, who is winning in the market and what they're doing. This is part of what we need to market to our customers. That's what they want to hear from us. So it's not just talking about us, what we can do for you, but also there's, in this AI world, it's this education that we're all going through. And it's our job as one of the leading IT vendors in the world to bring forward what we're learning as we're learning it, and what our customers are learning as they learn it.
India is also seen as a global tech and innovation hub right now over the past couple of years. So how has that changed your strategic priorities in this market?
Well, and we see that even in the research that you just referenced, how India has leaned in and early adopted, experimented, and then starting to build foundational level AI ahead of most of its peers in Asia, and even one of the most bold countries in the whole world on that subject. And seeing some of the progress that India is making, what we find out doing is looking over and over at Indian case studies, at Indian, it works, everybody's learning it together, and we work with clients, thousands of clients all around the world, and we're taking some of the best practices, the fail fast experiments and foundational building of AI from India, and exporting it, because India is at the front of the wave. And so it's giving some great examples and great use cases on how to do it and now not to do it. You can see both kinds of cases.
Yeah, and also with the kind of scale that India provides for a company such as yours. But having said that, and because you also mentioned that how you're learning with the world, having said that, what is the kind of skill set that, like a B2B marketer such as yours needs to develop in, the environment like that we are in today?
Well, I think...
And the mindset, of course, the skill set and the mindset.
You know, one of the things, it's a great question, and I'm constantly mentoring, you know, my team on the subject of, we have to be content experts. So, for example, I myself am AWS certified, Azure certified, ITSM certified.
Wow.
Learn the content, because if you can understand the content, you get more fluent in the language. And if you get more fluent in the language, then you can speak the language of to who you're marketing. Quite often, especially in high-end B2B IT, it's complex stuff. And you know, as you sit down to build your marketing, of course, you're interviewing the subject matter experts and the engineers who themselves have masters in computer science, and being able to tease out the differentiators and the content from them, and then understand what you're saying and be able to build it into a strategic marketing message that translates to more than just the IT experts. It's one of the things I admire most about some of the best marketing campaigns over the last 10 years is they're not actually just marketing to the IT folks. They're also marketing to the business and to the end users. You know, think about how you know, a lot of cloud is marketed. Think about how you know, other types of AI workloads. You're not saying buy my thing, it's 0.5 faster. What you're saying is, here's how to be a better bank with AI. Here's how to be a better, you know, financial company with AI. So you need to understand and translate, and then turn that into a message that isn't just for IT. That's what I say, and I think I don't think we're going backwards on that subject. I think as we keep going forward, becoming smarter on the content and talking to not just so you understand it, you're not just translating IT to IT, you're understanding it, and then you can talk to the non-IT folks.
Yeah. One of the another interesting data points that emerged out of your study was how the overall AI budget has increased by 3x for many of, you know, the enterprises and organizations. So where are we headed from here? Is it going to keep on increasing going forward? In what direction? And, you know, like, what else do we expect going forward? What are you hearing from some of your clients?
And so let's be specific about the data point that you're referencing. So when we asked our 3,000 customers around the world, or partners, IT leaders around the world, what do they think is going to happen? They think that they will be spending 3.3 times as much on AI as they did last year. What does that mean? That means inside of a pie chart, you know, maybe they were this much, and now they're going to be this much. So it doesn't mean it's going to be 3 times everything else, but it is increasing. And I know you had rightly sort of suggested and asked, so where's it coming out of? Because the whole pie isn't getting bigger, you know, not in this time, especially not with, you know, all of the
so many
unpredictability of the
pressures,
world. Absolutely right. So what we're seeing is a requirement or a request to modernize IT. And as you modernize IT, we see this a lot as we're talking to enterprises and small and medium businesses, we're helping you build out for an AI workload. Well, it's not some customized, specialized thing that is only good for this one trick. What we're asking is, can we help build a modernized platform? And AI can be some of the things that we run on it, but not others. And so if we're going to spend more money on AI, we want to be able to ensure that some of that budget also covers what is coming out of it. So it's about being smarter, it's about refreshing the tech and being able to do more with the same technology. You also heard, you know, we talked about in the session, thinking out of the box about how you can monetize your current assets, you know, such as Lenovo's got a tech buyback program where we can monetize the old while we help you put in the new, or think about a different business model like an as-a-service consumption business model. There are other ways to tackle the same challenge, because what we're not seeing is people saying, oh, well, because I'm going to buy a bunch of AI, I'm going to stop buying these other things that my business really needs. That's not what we're seeing.
Happening.
That's not what we're happening. But we have to think out of the box about how can we do this that also covers this. How can we change the business model to get more with the same amount of money?
Great. Thank you so much, Flynn. Thanks for
my
joining
pleasure.
us today. With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week. See you soon.